A lot of people didn't realise, I think, that it was as tough an event as it was. I think the most unfortunate aspect is that Commodore finished first, second, third, and so everyone presumed that, well, it must have been easy and they won it by money or logistics or something. And they didn't. They had the damn good crews in the cars, they serviced them well, and we just kept on going. Now, as a driver, I was warned before the event not to go in it. They said to me, Brock, you're a race circuit driver, all about on the, what's like on the bitumen. Don't make a fool of yourself. You'll really fall on your face. And that was like a red flag to a bull, the mare could. And I look at that as probably one of the greatest personal things I've ever done.
If Peter Brock was the Lone Ranger, Tonto would be this man, John Harvey. An accomplished driver in his own right, for years Harvey has been content to be the understudy, the number 2 on the Brock team, and a loyal friend in a business notorious for testing friendships.
Most of the effort over the last few years has been placed on the 05 car because Peter's the one up front there and his name's, on the contract, so to speak. And people expect Peter to win, so from that point of view, I've probably missed out a little.
You were never tempted to say, well, it's time that I sort of broke out on my own again and led my own team?
Oh, I'm quite happy here, and, I'm certainly happy in the whole dealer team. And, over the years, Peter's won Bathurst 8 times, but, and he gets most of the accolades for that, and that's fair enough. But, I mean, back in the workshop and back at work, it's a team effort, and, I'm happy to be part of that.
These days, Harvey's got much to be happy about. He and Brock are well on their way to becoming Australia's most successful builders of custom cars. The 150 factory Commodores that arrive at the Special Vehicles Workshop in Melbourne each month are turned into high-performance Brock Commodores, and the motoring public just can't get enough of them.
Late in 79, started up a business with just Peter and I and 4 guys. It's now grown to a point where we employ over 80 people.
One accolade I really should give is to John Harvey, who is one of the most diplomatic, nicest guys you'd ever meet in your life. A lot of it is the people around you, and I think one of the tricks of a successful business is to have people around you who support what you're after, who support your goals, the company's goals. And at HDT, we'd love to be the Porsche of Australia. I think we probably are, but we want to be Porsche of whatever markets we finish up selling to.
At the racetrack, the mobile Holden dealer team parades in its own spotlight. There's a new glamour to the Australian Touring Car Championships, thanks mainly to the introduction last year of international Group A rules. With them come the Volvos and the Alphas and the Jaguars. The prestige stakes are suddenly much higher, and in the Commodore tent, intensive care and attention to detail are the rules of the business.
But one of the things they always have to do when they arrive at some out-of-the-way place is make sure that we've got some gas or the 240 volt. We've got to have the technology to make a cup of tea. So we've got milk, a bit of coffee, somebody's got coffee, tea, sugar, a few spoons, a lot of hygiene. It's good. Nothing like civilization.
Race drivers by nature are perfectionists, which seems to make it easy for them not to like one another too much. And Brock is no exception. His relationship with Harvey is one thing. With some of the other drivers, cordial is about as good as they get.
Are you mates? Well, look, we're not bosom buddies, but, we're not aggro at one another. We do talk to one another, we joke with one another, and on occasions have a drink with one another.
Generally speaking, the guys that we've been racing against here now for the last 10 years or so, we've had no real problems. For instance, Moffat and I have very rarely swapped paint in 10 years of side-by-side driving. But if you said Alan Moffat, Alan Grice, they have been absolutely swapping paint for years. And it's just a personality thing, I'm sure.
Brock and Moffat together, whoever would have predicted it? The selection earlier this year of Alan Moffat as Brock's co-driver in Europe astonished the motor racing world, conditioned to the familiar sight of Brock and Moffat going at each other, on and off the track. But overnight, it seemed, the bitter rivalry of 10 years was forgiven and forgotten.
My mother probably says, Peter, I just can't understand. I mean, Alan Moffat and you, I'll never get used to it. So that's all right, Mum. If Alan Moffat drove a touring car against me in my team, I'm sure we'd have a conflict. We're like two roosters in a farmyard, you know, we're just at each other. But while we're in the same car, we combine this ambition and energy. It seems to work out pretty well.
Can they combine successfully? Opinion reserved.
Europe is next weekend. Last weekend it was Brock and Harvey against the rest of Symonds Plains and Tasmania. And it was not a perfect day for Peter Perfect. Running third 7 laps from the finish, the 05 car blew an oil filter. It was left to Harvey to pilot the Commodore colours into the money.
We go to John Harvey coming through there at the moment.
Next morning, back at the ranch, it looks like a nice day for a royal procession. The King of Moomba is awake, and the city of Melbourne awaits.
You'd expect something like 400,000, 500,000 people in the city of Melbourne. It is an honour to be elected King of Moomba with luminaries such as Graham Kennedy, etc., having been there before. So, good thing for motorsport, an honour for me, but a lot of hard work, but a bit of fun too. And I'll be going down the main, down Swanson Street today on a float, and I've promised to bring the kids with me and let them wave out to the crowds maybe. And this is the last day. So, fortunately tonight I can put my feet up and have a bit of a rest.
The oil filter on that one's perfect. I mean, it's amazing what you can do. Technology, isn't it?
A weekend in the life of King Peter of Brock. It's not every weekend, of course, that he gets the parade through the city in his honour. But if he does as well this season as he hopes, it might not be his last.
And here he is, the King of Moomba, King Perfect the First, Peter Brock, reigning as the...